The layout room measures 20 feet by 15.5. I started the layout back in November 2016, and it is of a British outline because frankly that's all I know, and that is the stuff for which I had locos in stock. Because I like the ambience of northern industrial towns, that's the main theme, and because I like passenger trains and I wanted to have 6 coach sets, I built the station platforms to be able to accommodate that size. This is a schematic diagram of the layout. There are 5 distinct sections here. At the lower we have a terminus. The terminus goes through into here. This section is called Witherston, and we have a through station and an engine yard. From there we go on to a peninsula, at which there are 2 levels. We have an upper level and we have a lower level. This is all linked by a helix, and from the helix we can go into one of 2 staging yards. There are very few out-of-the-box buildings. All the others are scratch-built, mostly to my own whimsical tastes. I use cardboard, basswood, balsa wood, and also stone and brick sheets created by John Whiffen of Scale Scenes that I have heavily modified by using Lightroom so I get the effect and textures that I want. There's also 2 Metcalf kits. Since it was some 40 years since my last layout, I had to undertake a significant learning curve to become current, especially, of course, in DCC. There are 6 power districts, 5 reverse sections, and all of these use PSX products. I'm currently setting up routes for the DS64s, and I must thank Lee Ferris for his guidance on this point. As useful as they might be, the DS64s don't give a visual graphic of the route status as do the DPDT panels, and I think that's a bit of a drawback. Worthewaite is a somewhat eclectic design of mine. It comprises almost 1,000 parts. I built it because I love the heroic old terminus train sheds that were built by the Victorians. The approach wall you can see in this shot is comprised of 5 layers of individually cut card, and they're covered by some of the bespoke stone prints that I created that I mentioned earlier. All my track work is fastened by using N-scale track pins. The London Midland Scottish, the LMS, is a favourite of mine, so it's well represented in my loco stock and also in the rolling stock. However, I also admire Sir Nigel Gresley's work and achievements, so they too are well represented alongside Stannier's. But as will be seen, there are also some more recent works as well as some that reach for much further back in time. The turntable is for the indexing, and I set it up for 6 storage yards and 2 approach stroke depart lines. This clip shows 3 of my locos and how well the indexing works. Apart from what I consider as being a loco of significance, many also have personal significance for places or events in my life, and I'm especially drawn to locos made by the North British Loco Works of Springburn in Glasgow, where I underwent workshop training many years ago. They're often referred to as the Glasgow Diamonds. The Sterling single is a beautiful model made by Rapido. And though it has sound, I'm not a great fan of sound because the general tones seem to me to be tinny, and attenuation with distance and Doppler effects are not really possible on a model layout, so they don't seem particularly authentic to me. The Stirling will head past the sand tower and halt underneath the coal hoist. Meanwhile, Stania Jubilee Alberta stands over the ash pit and beneath the ash tower. It's a busy yard and it's also a lot of fun to operate. I enjoy it very much. Here we're looking from Witherston Carriage Yard towards the Loco Yard and the busy main line. The carriage yard has 4 sidings, each capable of taking 6 car sets plus 2 locos. Facing the other way towards Witherston, the carriage yards can be seen towards the right. A Gresley P2 together with its rake of carriages is lying in the arrived depart line at the station. The wall that can be seen to the left is the one that is opposite Carlisle's platform 1 and is based on a photograph kindly sent to me by Jeff McKeever. The shed roof is made of basswood and the platforms have yet to be detailed, as can be seen. Here we're at the down end of Witherston. The sidings are currently being fitted at each end with KD magnets. The walkway is of basswood. Looking across the peninsula back towards Witherston, we can see the double-track main line and a connector that permits either loop running around the peninsula or an access to and from the helix. The crosstown reverse allows trains to be served by the helix for either the up or the down main lines. The styrene blocks that have been visible in many of the shots are used to plan the building layouts and visual images. Now to the right is an embryonic 2-road station or goods yard that I'm planning. And we can see the double-track main line that is running around the top level of the peninsula, and we can also see the double-tracked cutting of the helix, more of which we'll show in a few moments. As I mentioned earlier, you will note that I do like to collect locomotives and train sets that come from different eras that I feel are representative of a bit of history that's gone on over in the UK, but I eschew the southern. Now we see the cutting. The walls being made of cardboard layers and they're lined with more of my bespoke stone prints. Ballasting and some greenscaping has been done, but the tunnel mouth is yet to be finished. I think I mentioned the reverse line was built into the helix. This allows me to run a train down the helix on one line and then back up on the other without fiddling around in the staging yards a little lower down, and it creates an extended loop for the peninsula. We're now at the mid-level of the helix watching a train descend. At the bottom of the helix lies a Y junction serving the 2 staging yards as we shall now see. All trains first enter the 4-road yard, and this will eventually be fitted with KD magnets at the ends of each siding and occupancy detection throughout. Our train is reversed from the 4-road yard into the 7-road one, which is also being fitted with KD magnets to change locos as desired, and this will allow not just entire trains to be assembled, etc., but also the arrival and dispatch of locos that are running light. Our Deltic has reversed, waited its turn, and now departs for the helix and for the Peninsula Main Line. In our next segment, we see a train using the helix reverse instead of continuing down to the staging yards. Its loop can also be used to stack trains if desired. The top of the helix takes the form of another cutting, and we see the merger with the peninsular main lines, near which is a model of the rail bridge at Wearmouth, a favourite of mine near Sunderland. The model is made of plywood and balsa. Visible too is a shuttle line which will be finished with arches, bricks or pierced, running in front of a typically northern mill called McKeever Mills. Some ballasting and greenscaping has been done, as you can see, but I have to admit there's much to be done and it's really not a favourite occupation of mine. The crosstown reverse will weave its way between industrial buildings and mills, and I hope to get the overcast, grimy appearance of the steam age working town of the north or the Glasgow area. As we travel up the line, we'll see not only many of the features shown earlier, but also some of the electrical and bench work. Colour coding of the wiring is rigorously applied. Every single piece of Pico track has its own feed from its power district bus and via a European-style connector block. These things are liberally used. This enables me to identify dead sections or shorts very quickly and deal with them. Not that I've had any but yet. The tortoise machines have their individual connectors and generous wire loops, and this enables me to easily remove them and deal with problems without any underboard soldering problems. I use wire, staples and ties liberally to reduce snagging, and I also label the wiring throughout for easy tracing of the circuits. Not a lot of lighting has been done yet, except for Worthewaite. The LEDs are fed by 12-volt buses. Each LED has its own 2K resistor. I do have a couple of weathered steamers, and I suppose I should have more for the grimy ambience I want, but I just can't bring myself to dirty up my nice looking locos or stock. Coming up on the left is an embryonic heritage steam yard that will be loosely based on that at Halliford on the Keighley-Worth Valley Railway. So here we are at the terminus, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing the Worthewaite and Witherston. Thanks for watching.